stuff in commercials than there were in PG-13 movies 5-10 years ago. People running around half naked doing all this crazy stuff in a commercial. And it was a good show that you were watching. You know, somebody put it this way to me one time. So there's that one good show, okay? So there's this one really good sandwich. If it's crammed down in the garbage, do you really want to go down there and get it and then eat it? If it's mixed in with all that other stuff? And that's the way it is. Okay, you can be watching the most innocent thing, you know, a good old-fashioned Western band or something like that, and some commercial comes up for God only knows what. And it's like, yeah, I mean, hamburger, chips. My goodness. That's the worst part. Thank you, Sister Victoria. You know, the Super Bowl commercials, really big in the U.S. and everything. It's banned. Some of these commercials, you go on YouTube and you can see banned commercials. Obviously, don't watch them. There's a reason they're banned. If they're banned, how bad are they? Okay, but some of these commercials are Dorito commercials were banned. What could you possibly put in a commercial about Doritos potato chips to make it be banned from the vile garbage that's on TV? So watch yourself. Okay? Be guarded. Because you get in that comfortable level, oh, you know, it's okay. It's only once in a while a bad commercial comes on. So most of the time it's okay. You know? Don't get comfortable there. So anyway, sorry for that little backtrack there, but I think obviously we needed that. So go back to the overconfident one, the person that doesn't need help. You know, I've got it all taken care of, and that giant will stand there and like, yeah, he'll be cheering you on. Isn't that amazing? 1 second, you're dirt. Right. You know, if you make it past that level, well, you know, you're doing okay. Go ahead. That's fine. Be comfortable. Go ahead. I'll let you go that far. Be comfortable. And then the next step, you know, he's like, you know, well, you made it past that point. Come on. Come on. Come on. And he'll back you right off the cliff. He'll keep cheering you on until you run right off. There are boundaries for a reason. You have an authority over you for a reason. Don't ever step out from your pastor's authority. Okay, because your pastor has a spiritual authority. That spiritual authority has a spiritual authority. Okay, it should never just be you and God as your spiritual authority. Okay, there should be somebody there, even if it's just for the purpose of being able to be held accountable to someone on this earth. Because we all know God forgives us, and we like to abuse that. Well, he's going to forgive me, so nobody's really going to know. God will know, and he's going to forgive me. But if you're accountable to somebody, and they see you slipping up on this stuff, you know, they might tap you. Hey, what's going on here? Talk to me. You know, why all of a sudden have you started dressing this way? You know, why all of a sudden, ladies, you know, has that neckline started going down and that hem coming up? Guys, what is this thing with wearing skin-tight T-shirts and, you know, skin-tight pants? You know, walking around, flexing your muscles, walking down the beach with your shirt off. This is serious stuff. And you should have somebody in your life to hold you accountable. Because it's easy when nobody's looking. I'll be firsthand, you know, I've made plenty of mistakes. Nobody's looking, it's really easy to do the wrong thing. You know, even if you don't purposely think in your mind, well, you know, God will forgive me anyway. Because sometimes you don't think that way. Sometimes it just comes up and you do it. But if one of your church buddies was standing there, or your pastor was standing there, would you be doing it? No. That's why it's important to have that authority over your life. That's why it's important to have that spiritual accountability. Amen. Right, so all three versions of this giant, the way this giant presents himself, are extremely dangerous. And if he can keep you in any of these, your walk with God will suffer. And for some of these, I mean, especially that first one, or the downside of it, the really, really, really downside, your life could be at stake. Well, all of them, your life is at stake. But, like, physically, you could die now. Right. Because you get into that mode of depression, and that is a dangerous place to be. A very dangerous place to be. Now, I know we all have things go wrong. Okay, and I've been hurt plenty of times. Relationships, whatever, something goes wrong at school, you name it, it's happened. And I've been upset about it. Maybe for a couple days, maybe for longer than a couple days. If you're in a relationship, you really like this guy or girl, and then, suddenly it ends, you're probably, if there was anything there, you're probably going to feel it. Okay, if you just, okay, well, that makes me feel better, then obviously something wasn't going on, But, so we all have that hurt. That's fine. You're going to be hurt. Like we talked about the other day, there are going to be, things maybe that you regret. Don't do it on purpose. Just because I tell you there are going to be regrets in life doesn't mean you have to go out and make them. As Pastor Gillis said, if you haven't made any of those, big regrets, don't. Yeah. Okay? If you are physically pure, stay that way. Yeah. Okay? If you've slipped up, God still loves you. Put that behind you and don't slip up again. Right. Okay? I know that it's not easy. Okay? I'm a guy and I've dated. So I know that it's not easy, guys, to do the right thing. Okay? It's not easy to keep yourself pure. Ladies, I don't know exactly how it goes for you, but I'm sure it's, kind of the same deal. Okay? Because it takes two. Right. All right? You're all old enough here. Don't go down that path. That's a slippery slope. It's hard to climb back out of. So if you haven't been there, don't go there. Please don't go there. Okay? They will save you a lot of trouble. Because say you go there with this person. Chances are that relationship probably won't end up working out. So then, whatever, you get yourself straightened out with God, and you move on, and you do find the right girl. You do find the right guy. Now, you have to tell them, well, 2 years ago, I went here. So that leaves you feeling bad. That leaves them feeling, compared. And that just leads to more problems. Okay, so don't, this went back to the regret thing, but don't make new ones. Okay, if you haven't made them, don't make them now. So, we've talked about this giant, the 3 ways that he kind of presents himself. So how do we conquer this giant? Okay, and I have 5 steps or principles, you want to call them. Oh, actually, hey, 5 stones. There you go. That works. So step 1, we need to realize our identity. We need to realize who we are. We are children of God. He himself made us in his image. Okay? Not some, random thing. God made you in his image. And he has a plan for us. As we just got done talking, he knows your past. He knows what you have done, and he still has a plan. He may even have a plan on how he's going to have a plan how to use that. Right. That testimony may be used to help somebody else out in the same situation. Right. So just because you've been there doesn't mean that it has to be worthless. God can turn that around and use that good. The other side of that, if you haven't been there, that honestly is a greater testimony. Because you can say, look, God spared me from that. God helped me to stay away from that. You know, one of the comedians I like to listen to, I think it was Tim Hawkins. He was talking about, you know, people in church. It's like, you know, somebody gets up and has this whole testimony on how they were delivered from drugs. And it's just an amazing story, you know. And he's like, well, I don't have a good testimony. I have a horrible one. Wish I were addicted to drugs. Thanks God. You know, he does this whole thing because his testimony is not good enough. Think about it. You were spared. You didn't have to go through that. That is a testimony. You never tried drugs. That's a testimony. You never tried alcohol. That's a testimony. So don't get sucked into that, well, you know, I need to experience these things so I can tell others how to get out of them. No. No. Don't let that enter your mind. Okay, so that was step one, is realize your identity. Realize who you are, that God has made you for a purpose. Step two is we need to encourage ourselves. Encourage yourself. Okay, one of the problems, especially with that first one, of depression and that kind of thing, is you beat yourself up. You have a little pity party, honestly. You know, nobody likes me, everybody hates me. I might as well eat some worms. You know, yeah, big, fat, juicy ones, long, thin, skinny ones. Let's just eat some worms. Does that... So, you know, you guys laugh, but I'm pretty sure at some point or another, all of us have had a little bit of a pity party. You know, why does this have to happen to me? You know, why did that happen? What did I do wrong? You know, and I'm making fun of it because I've been there and done that too, so I'm allowed. So if all you are getting, well, that's where I'm at, so don't make fun of me. Well, I've been there, so I'm allowed to. Yeah, I just stuck my tongue out at you too. So encourage yourself. Pull yourself out of that pit. If you're feeling down about yourself, just read the Bible. Okay, go through and look for examples in the Bible. You know, if you're stuck back on that regret thing where you messed up and you don't think God can use you, look at David. Look at his story. Okay? He had a man killed so he could steal the man's wife. You know, he messed up a bunch of times, honestly. And yet God still called him a man after his own heart. So, you know, I'm pretty sure most of us haven't done that. And if you have, well, David did it, and God still used him. So, encourage yourself. You know, read about Rahab, read about Moses. Look for those similarities. You know, David made the mistakes. You know, Moses couldn't talk right. So he could have, you know, he did try to tell God that, you know, well, I can't talk right. You know, you shouldn't use me. He was having a little bit of a pity party for himself. God, you know, I'm not good enough. You should just get someone better. You know, I can't even talk right. And he pulled out of that, though. Read about these things. Look in the Bible. There are always examples. Okay, sometimes it's amazing that you could be facing something now, reading the Bible about something that happened thousands of years ago, and be like, wow, that's actually kind of similar to what I'm dealing with. You know, the pastor gets up and preaches something, and it's like, wow, you know, I guess I'm not the only one that struggles with that. You know, I guess I'm not the only one that's down here in this pit all by myself. You know, climb out of it. Pull it out. Pull yourself out of that, okay? There's always a story in the Bible, always a scripture in the Bible that will help you with what you're facing. If you look for it, you'll find it. If you can't find it, talk to your pastor, and he will help you find it. Okay, sometimes it's hard if you just open up the Bible, and it's like, wow. Where do I start? Read through Psalms. Okay, if you're feeling down, read through Psalms. That is one of the most inspirational books in the Bible, because it goes all over the place. It goes from the lows to the highs to the somewhere in the middle where you're laying down in green pastures to you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death. So it's there. Read it. Encourage yourself. Step 3 is be available. Okay, Pastor Gillis kind of hit on this. Remember that God wants availability, not just ability. God knows who you are and what He wants to use you for. He knows the ability that He's given you. You just have to make yourself available. Now, this can go for the first 2, where you shouldn't be comfortable. Make yourself available, and God will move you up. Okay, He will move you along if you just make yourself available. And this can also go for that last one. Just remember, mister, I'm good, and they can't make it without me. That God will go right around you and find somebody that's just available. They might not be as talented as you are, but they have a right spirit and they're available to do it. That's who God's going to use. Okay, just because you are a whiz at the keyboard or the guitar or the bass or the drums, that does not mean you are going to hold that spot. That does not mean that the music team can't make it without you. Because I guarantee you, you get that in your head, and you go ahead and walk away, oh, you know what, you guys can't make it without me, so I just won't be there. God will fill that spot instantly. He doesn't mess around. Okay, so don't get trapped in that. It's very, very, very important that you do not get stuck in that. You have to remember that availability and that humble spirit is everything. Not that talent. Okay, because God has given talents to everyone. They may be different things. Okay, look at me. I'm quite sure that there are probably lots of other people who are much better speakers and better at presenting things and more educated than I am. But I made myself available. It took me a while, but I made myself available. And I'm here. Okay, as a guitarist, I know that I am not the best guitarist in the world. Honestly, I really don't even think I'm that good. But I have played all over a few states for statewide functions, for statewide conferences, because I made myself available with the right attitude. Because I can guarantee you, if I came into it like, yeah, I'm all that and you need me, and I'm just going to blow this apart and take your music to another level, I would not still be used in those areas. Because there are people that are more talented than I am. I know it. Okay, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm a little bit more on the downside of that one. I don't like to give myself credit for things, If I do a good job, it's like, well, it could have been better. I should have practiced more. If I had really practiced as much as I should have over the last 10 or 12 years, then I would be pretty good. But, I'm mediocre. That's kind of how I look at myself. So that can be a problem, but in the same sense, it does help keep you humble. Just don't let it tear you down. Okay, let it keep you at that good level where you're not getting a big head. But in the same sense, don't crawl in a hole somewhere. When they give you that opportunity, don't say, well, I'm not good enough for that. If you're given that opportunity, God gave you that opportunity for a reason. Okay, if it's something that's for the church in His will, and He gives you the opportunity, He knows what He's doing. Take it. Don't let that pass by. You might not get another one. Or if you do, it might be later down the road. So then you're going to look back and be like, wow, there was that 5 year stretch, that for that first time when I was asked to do this, where could I have been if I had started that first time that I was given the opportunity? Where could I be now? You probably wouldn't be looking back saying, I wish I would have done that. Where could I be? So think about it, okay? Be available. Step 4 is to encourage others. I want you to look at 2 or 3 people right now and tell them something good about themselves. Brother Alex, that's a nice shirt and tie today you're wearing. Looking good. Looking good. What's that? Thank you. See how good that feels? I see all of you smiling right now. All of you smiling. And let me tell you, okay, this is a little bit of a Rick thing, but this definitely isn't spiritual. There's always something nice you can say. Yeah. Okay? If the person is ugly, find something else nice to say about them. Okay? I'm not saying don't lie. But find something nice to say. I remember very distinctly, and again, this is not a spiritual thing, so this is just a little bit of a fun kind of insert break to keep you guys awake. I was at camp in Pennsylvania this one year, and I'm sitting on the bench, and this girl that I liked at the time was up sitting with another girl on the bench in front of me. So I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and this girl I like comes over to me, and she's like, "Hey, would you come here real quick?" Sure. So I get up, and I walk over there, and she's like, "So-and-so is really upset. Her boyfriend broke up with her and blah, 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 all this stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And she's like, "And she thinks she's ugly. Is she ugly?" Oh, man. Oh, boy. What do you do? Especially because I really didn't think she was, that good looking, So I said, "No, she's not ugly," because she wasn't ugly. She wasn't my type, but she wasn't ugly. But I was like, oh boy. Quickly you're thinking, you have nice eyes. Your eyes are beautiful, guys. This is a little bit of a Rick tip here. If you can't find anything nice to say, you have beautiful eyes. Now, girls, I'm quite sure that goes the other way too. Some guys chasing you, like, I like the way you cut your hair, whatever the deal is, oh, I like that watch, something. Okay, you don't have to bury yourself in a hole to encourage somebody. Okay, you don't have to lie. Please don't lie. Okay, find a way. Okay, that makes it a little bit more effort on your part sometimes. When there's not an obvious way, sometimes you have to think about it a little bit more. But that makes it worth a little bit more to you. Hopefully, they don't catch on that you have to think about something and come up with another answer because you can't do the obvious one of, you look really good, you look really nice. They don't match. What do you say? Well, that's a nice shirt. Or that's a nice tie. Just not a nice shirt and tie together. Leave that part out. Okay? Sometimes, yes, well, I think you've all got it at that point. Find a way to encourage each other. Okay? Boost each other up. Everybody needs it once in a while. Everybody needs somebody to tell them, hey, you did a good job today. Especially if it's something new. Okay, if somebody finally steps out and does something different, boost them up. Positive reinforcement. Everybody needs that. Somebody steps out and worships like they haven't before after church, encourage them. Be like, man, that was great. You were really worshiping tonight. That's awesome. Don't let that slip by unnoticed.
Right.
Because while you may be experienced into that level where you don't care if anybody else notices, you're doing this just for God. They're scared out of their mind.